Okay, you decided India as your GCC destination. Will you start by appointing an end-to-end GCC service provider? Or you'll say, no, I'll do everything myself. In today's XFINO's GCC Talent podcast, this conversation is something that we're reflecting further. And it all stemmed from a conversation I had with a global CTO in recent times. As we are presenting the case for talent in the big 6 cities and tier 2 cities, he said, look, in full transparency, I have to tell you this, that we are parallelly also running an RFP with a few end-to-end GC service providers. And the usual suspects are on the list, he said. I asked, what do you mean by end-to-end GC service providers? Because in my view, there are various kinds of service providers. So he said, can you explain in which dimension you're looking at them? So I said, look, in our view, there are three. One, the big four or the big 10 consulting companies, which provide various array of services. Two, there are IT service companies, which of late have also announced separate GCC verticals. Three, the boutique GCC service providers, some of them have been owned, anchored, or led by ex-GCC site heads themselves. Oh, he said, are there advantages, disadvantages, any of them? I said, no, there is an array of things that some of them can do and some of them cannot. And that conversation went in a particular way, and we'll see where that heads. At the same time, I thought that conversation brought a reflection on what are the things a new GCC will have to do if they come on their own. And the same thing applies if they give it to an end-to-end GCC service provider, isn't it? So when I listed that and I saw what are the things they will have to do, the first thing that came to my mind is, look, they have to look after the regulatory and compliance, the incorporation, licenses, registrations, kind of stuff. Then operational stuff. Whom will they bank with, the territories, payroll, audit taxations, legal, and if they go further, even things like build, operate, transfer. If some of the processes had to be run by a service provider to start with, to give a leg up, and then they take it over from there. Then there's infrastructure of two types, right? One is real estate, and two is the technology infrastructure. Then talent. Talent again in three dimensions. One is leadership hiring, two is where will you and how will you hire the FTEs, or will you hire a contract to hire model through a service provider. There are a whole lot of external interfaces, government departments, industry bodies and associations, media. So these are the things I wrote down as what all one has to provide if you go with a service provider, or if you do it on your own. These are things that you'll have to do. So who do you think is best provided to give all these things? IT services companies, traditionally known for BOT as their strength area, and maybe even talent, because contracting in a different way, call it loan staffing, body shopping. So that's something they've done for a living all the time. Easily done. Everything else, maybe they have to do through other service providers. So that's what IT services companies. Similar thing with consulting companies, where I think when it comes to regulatory compliances, even some of the operational aspects, setting up, audit, taxation, legal, even BOTs, which they've been doing successfully in the last few years, they can do easily. Talent is an area big four and the big 10 have got into in a big time, so they possibly do the end-to-end part of talent as well. So I guess there are certain things some of the companies, some of the kind of service providers do well. The boutique companies have gained a lot of traction because some of them had great real estate assets sitting with them, and they were able to bunch other set of capabilities together. And that's how they became end-to-end and pretty successfully run today. So if you look at three, the question that I always ask is, can any of these three do all these aspects of end-to-end successfully? So then I looked at the advantages of this model. The end-to-end advantage of having a service provider is, one, you're a single leg to catch. And as a company who has come all the way to India, your focus is on the core. What is the core? You want to do innovation or transformation. So all the enabling things you outsource to an end-to-end service provider and focus on what you're good at. The third and the most important thing, it's the best insurance. In year one, you come to a new country, things don't work out. You blame it on the service provider. Somebody else did end-to-end, right? So I think it's a very smart move to do when you come to a new country. So you don't take the risk. The disadvantage, however, is on similar dimensions. The first one that I wrote down is, look, if you don't learn the hard way when things are small, you don't do it yourself. And let's say after 2 or 3 years, it's handed to you at the scale that the operations have already reached and the intersection of innovation or transformation that you're already at. Is that the time that you want to take over all these things and get distracted, or you rather learn it as it is growing on you? So that's one. So I believe that's one disadvantage, that you cannot transition when, or the transition would be far more complex when it has scale. Two, what I wrote down is this end-to-end contract by any service provider is a stretched claim at best. Because when you go with them, what you will get is what they are very good at combined with what they're not. So you get the best of what they're good at and suffer with what they're not. So that's the disadvantage, right? The third, and I think the most excruciating one for site heads whom I've interacted, is that after they've come on board and they realize that some of these contracts end-to-end run for a long period of time, maybe at least 2 years. So if something is not working amongst the various aspects that we shared, let's say recruitment is not working, let's say infrastructure is not working, or the BOT part you didn't like, you thought you had better capabilities through some other service provider. You can't change all of this just like that. Changing that means fighting your own headquarters. In a company where you just joined as a site head, do you want to be surviving and doing the core competency of yours, which is innovation or transformation, or you'll be fighting the headquarters? We've already made this call, right? And even if there are parts that you're able to convince your headquarters that is not working and you want to bring a change, the contracts are so complex and you can't, that is not something that you can just like an a la carte take it out and make a change. So the disadvantages are this, and for me the single largest disadvantages is that can anyone be end-to-end a specialist in all the areas that we described? There are few of them who've been able to do most of them, but for everybody to claim that end-to-end will do everything very well to your satisfaction is the biggest challenge we have in the end-to-end model of GCC servicing today. So thank you for tuning in and being with me as I went through what I think works and doesn't work in the new GCC setup, especially the claim of end-to-end. Let me know what you think.